Hello and welcome to the Bison Basketball Show. I'm Brian Shawn. Both the NDSU men's and women's basketball teams continue to grind through the non-conference schedule as they build towards Summit League play that begins at the end of the month. The Bison men coming off their longest and most difficult road trip of the season, coming home to host North Dakota in a big matchup at the Shield Center.
Over 5,000 fans in attendance at the Shield Center, but it was the visitors coming out firing. Gino Crandall leaking out in transition off the turnover, lays it in plus the foul. Crandall led UND with 24 points on the night. Dexter Werner unstoppable inside for the Bison, flying in for one of his 6 offensive rebounds, puts it back up and in. Later, using a screen on the wing, going all the way for the reverse. He had 12 points in the first half, but NDSU trailed 33-23 at the break. In the second half, the Herd trying to rally back. A.J. Jacobson hits NDSU's only three-pointer of the game. Jacobson finished with just 7 points. Then it's Werner going back to work. He was 12 of 13 from the field, scored a game-high 30 points to keep the Bison close. Later on the break, 3-on-2, Paul Miller misses, but Tyson Ward there for the tip-in. Ward with 6 points off the bench, and that pulls the Bison within 7. But the Fighting Hawks an 11-4 run. Quentin Hooker, one of his 9 assists to Corey Baldwin for the long 3. He added 13. UND wins round 1, 74-56. The Bison shot just 1 of 20 from outside the arc, and leading scorer Paul Miller did not score in the contest. Werner, the only Bison player in double-figure scoring.
It's just one of those games where the energy is going to be a little higher, everybody's going to be amped up. So I guess just trying to channel that, but you know, those first 9 minutes we had really low energy, and that kind of set the tone, and then that just gave us that hole that we couldn't get out of. So I definitely think that slow start is what hurt us.
We now welcome in men's head coach David Richmond to the set. And Dave, first of all, before we get into the game against North Dakota, it's been a fun rivalry, almost 300 meetings between the two schools. NDSU and UND sign a 4-year deal for a home-and-home. Scheduling, I know, for both schools has been a real challenge. You and I have talked about that in the past, so this really made sense to do this, didn't it?
No question, and the proximity, 75 miles apart, the toughness that it is for us to get games, for them to get games in Grand Forks, for us to get games here in Fargo, it made a lot of sense. And from a travel budget standpoint, it just made it complete sense from our standpoint. I know talking to Brian, he was all for it. And you know, we just played the first of 8. We got treated like a series. We're down 0-1 and got a chance to come back here in a couple Fridays.
I know one thing that you've talked about even before this game was played, before really the season started, was good experience, bad experience. We're going to learn from all of it and move forward and build towards that opener on December 28th as Summit League play gets started. This obviously probably doesn't go down as a good experience, but what do you take away from this for your team?
Well, certainly you can't panic, 10 games into this and reinvent the wheel and start pressing everywhere, do a zone or, completely revamp things. But at the same sense, you can't continue to let history repeat itself in a negative way. You got to learn from some things. And we are always going to be defined in what happens in extremely late December, January, February, and in particular into March. And I like this group a lot, our group. No one's getting off the bus. We can't have anybody get on the bus. We just got to keep moving forward. And I know it's cliche, I know it's coach speak, but we've got to trust the process. We've got to continue to do our job over and over and over again. And there's some things that myself as a head coach, our staff, we can do to help those things. But I think we got some guys that got a lot of things going on in their head right now, whether it be finals, whether it be school, whether it be tired from, whatever. We just got to continue to work through things.
It's hard to believe, too, that the conference season is just upon us here in a couple of weeks. One guy that did really play well, just played inspired basketball last night, was Dexter Werner. What do you make from his performance last night? He was really an unstoppable force.
No question, and he's coming off back-to-back double-doubles now, and you need to find the light, especially with a kid like Dexter. This is his senior year. He's playing the other North Dakota school, North Dakota boy himself, and was very pleased, with the way he played. You need to continue to get better from the free throw line and do some things like that, bring some guys around him with him. But we can build off his performance, no question, Brian.
All right, Dave, thanks for joining us. Stay with us after the break. We recap a long week on the road for the Bison men and take a look ahead. That's next on the Bison Basketball Show.
The Bison Basketball Show on Midco Sports Network is presented by Nodak Mutual Insurance Company and Mincoda Windows.
Welcome back to the Bison Basketball Show. The Bison men had a very long and difficult road trip last week that included games at Missouri State and nationally ranked Xavier. The Bison men wrapping up that road trip at North Carolina A&T, and NDSU rolls to the victory, 85-67 the final. 5 different players scored in double figures in the game. Senior forward Dexter Warner recorded his 6th career double-double, finishing with 16 points and 12 rebounds. Freshman Tyson Ward, a season-high 15 points on 6 of 9 shooting. NDSU never trailed in the contest, racing out to a 9-0 early lead and pushing the margin to 47-30 at halftime. The Bison men were also traveling a lot this past week, and running through airports is not always easy. But the team did get to visit 2 of the most historic and well-known basketball venues in the country: the Dean Smith Center at the University of North Carolina and Cameron Indoor Stadium at Duke University. It was an experience many players say they will not forget.
It's breathtaking. It's like you just walk in there, you just look up and you start, just to be in that type of atmosphere. I mean, we didn't get to really experience what it was like with all the fans in there, but you could just feel it just by stepping onto the floor or just stepping on like in the gym. It was nice. It was fun.
We walk in there, they give us like a little video, and then we walk outside the video, and it's just a court with all this historic things, and I didn't really think like it was that many people from North Carolina that went to like the NBA, first round draft picks and stuff like that. So, I mean, it was just great to see that different campus and experience like the high major thing.
First thing I thought when I walked into the team dome was, wow, that is really big. It was a lot bigger than anticipated. It's bigger than the Fargo Dome, so that was impressive. And then just walking into Duke, when I saw Cameron Indoor, I thought it was just a regular building. I didn't think it was the arena at all, but you walk in there and then it's kind of cool, just old-fashioned, it's cool to see. I think more importantly, it was good to just spend time with teammates, have that time together. I know Coach Richmond was talking about just kind of getting away for a little bit, spending time with each other.
All right, back with head coach Dave Richmond. Spencer Eliason talking about you stressing to the team how important it is to get away a little bit on this road trip. When you're on the road for 8 days, that is a long road trip for anybody, especially a 18, 19, 20-year-old college student. That must have been fun to go away a little bit and try to bond the team at least while you're stuck on this long road trip.
No question. It's good to have perspective in life. And you go back, and even for myself, Brian, you look at a lot of times in the past, we played Thursdays and Saturdays. So you're gone 5 days, 4 nights. And by the end, you're ready to get home, ready to get back, see the kids, the players, the coaches are ready to get back in their own beds, getting somewhat of a routine. Well, now you add 3 more nights and 4 more days onto that thing. It got long. There's no question about it. And so we felt like it was really important to get away, take our mind off some things, especially coming off a couple losses. And Casey Matthews does a tremendous job for us. He lined the whole thing up, behind the scenes. And for us to, you see those 2 places on TV, on ESPN quite a bit. And for us to get a taste of it, to really experience it, was a pretty neat deal.
Home now for a week. Get a week off between games. Everybody can get settled back into the routine a little bit, and then UC Davis comes in. The importance of that, because really there's only a few non-conference games left. Yeah, you got 2 of them on the road, but 1 is in close proximity, and you got 1 at home.
Yeah, no question. I think we got to all have some perspective and keep in mind, myself most importantly, as much as we want to get back and grind and think we need to do this on the back, we got to realize these kids are going into, they're in dead week right now. Next week is finals for them. They've got a lot going on in their heads, and we need to be cognizant of that. But at the same time, we need to take advantage. Today, Thursday, we're off, but the next couple days are opportunities for us to compete, to continue to get better, and really focus on, again, like we talked about, focusing on the process and moving us forward and getting us better for Summer League play.
Real quickly, between now and Summer League play, and it's about 2.5 weeks of play before you get started, what needs to improve? What would you like to see improve in practice leading up into that opener?
Consistency. There's no question about it in my mind. This team is capable. We've proven it by being up 18 against a very good Arkansas State team. We go to High Point, and we just crushed them. We're up 30, at one point. But we have to have some consistency. You turn around the first half against Missouri State. I do think, as talented as Xavier is, that's not a team that's 30 points better than us. The way we came out in the first half against Greensboro, the way we played last night against North Dakota, those aren't things that define us. So we've got to level it out, find some consistency, and no question in my mind this group can do it.
All right, thanks so much, Dave, and good luck against UC Davis.
Thanks, Brian.
All right, stay with us. Bison Basketball Show continues after this. We check in with Maren Walseth and the Bison women this past week. Welcome back. After a tough loss at home to Western Michigan, the NDSU women's basketball team back on the road this past week, taking on a couple of Horizon League opponents, starting with Milwaukee this past Saturday.
A tight contest between the Bison and Panthers that had 16 lead changes in the game. NDSU crashing the offensive glass, Riley Jacobson big off the bench. The offensive rebound and putback, Jacobson 11 points and 9 boards on the afternoon. Taylor Thunstedt hot from three-point range, one of her 7 triples from the wing. The Bison 5 of 9 from outside the arc in the first half and led it by 1 at the break. In the second half, NDSU continuing to fire from long range. Kennedy Childers getting the feed, launching and connecting. Childers added 7 off the bench. Thunstedt again using the screen, dropping in another 3. She had a team-high 23 points, and the Bison lead at 61-59 after 3. Fourth quarter, Emily Spear nearly another double-double, hitting the 16-footer. Bison building a 7-point lead. After an 11-2 Milwaukee run, Spear finding herself alone at the free throw line. She had 10 points and 9 rebounds, and we're tied at 72. Panthers would answer with 4 straight. Sierra Ford Washington driving for 2 of her 14 points, but the Herd answer right back. Sarah Jacobson, quick first step, cruising in for the lay-in. Jacobson added 8 to narrow it to 2, but Milwaukee in the final minutes finally able to put NDSU away. Steph Kostowitz on the baseline, the reverse lay-in. She had a game-high 26, and the Panthers win it 79-74 the final. The Bison shoot a season-best 55% from three-point range and grabbed 15 offensive rebounds on the afternoon. Bison finishing the road trip in Detroit against Oakland. Taylor Thunstedt did not start in the game due to illness, but came off the bench to hit 5 three-pointers and scored a team-high 16 points. Later in the first half, Tyra Spencer finding an open Sarah Jacobson for 3. She had 13 on the night, a career high, and also dished out 5 assists. Just before half, Kennedy Childers' nice look to Emily Spear for the short jumper. She added 12 points for NDSU, but the Golden Grizzlies led by 16 at the half. Bison would make a run in the third quarter off the miss. Riley Nudell, one of NDSU's 16 offensive rebounds in the game. The putback trims the lead. The Herd had some trouble with Oakland's full court pressure, but able to break it on this possession. Childers to Riley Jacobson would pull the Bison within 10, but the Golden Grizzlies pull away for good in the fourth quarter. Hannah Little crashing the glass, cashing in. She added 18 for the Golden Grizzlies. Oakland scored 60 points in the paint and goes on to win it 95-66 the final. NDSU committed 24 turnovers, which led to 35 Oakland points.
We now welcome in women's head coach Maren Walseth to the set. And Maren, an adventure getting home, so to speak, after the blizzard and all the weather in this area. You fly to Minneapolis from Detroit in your last game at Oakland, then you bust back up here. A chance for more team bonding, I'm guessing, but as coaches, does that get stressful at all?
Maybe a little stressful, but very thankful for our travel services folks and the bus company getting us here safely. But it's a little bit of an adventure.
It always seems to be. Going back to the game against Milwaukee on Saturday, played really, really well, shot it extremely well from three-point range. I think 11 of 20 from outside the arc, a 7-point lead in the fourth quarter. You guys played really well in that game, came down to possession here or there. What do you take away from that game?
I thought we did play very well, and it's a direct reflection of a great week of practice between practicing prior to Western Michigan, a couple practices prior to Milwaukee, and then putting that game together. I thought we definitely played our best basketball. Riley Jacobson really came out of need with some foul trouble inside. She played a fantastic first half. It was great to see Taylor shoot the ball well, as we know she's very capable of. Our turnovers were very much under control, thanks to Tyra and Sarah Jacobson. So overall, it was a very well-played game. Unfortunately, a possession here, a possession there, and it's a different outcome.
Still a very, very good game between the two teams. Obviously fun to watch. Turnovers getting stronger with the basketball. Point of emphasis, obviously for you and your young guards, you face the ultimate test against Oakland, who's 5th in the country in steals, full court pressure, almost the entire game. You knew that was going to be tough, but that was really a good trial under fire, so to speak, for some of your young players.
It was. We want growth to be in this straight upward line, and it zigzags from time to time. And I really think that the test, as you mentioned, with the ball pressure, with the trapping, was a bit much for us to overcome. However, there were positives, and we'll continue to grow from there.
I mean, it was a 10-point game in the third quarter. It wasn't like you guys didn't have your shot in the second half. You really had a nice comeback after being down double digits in the second half.
We did. The third quarter, over the course of this young season has been one that we've been up and down and inconsistent. However, 2 times getting it down to 10 was a step in the right direction versus that pressure. We just couldn't quite get it under 10.
Now you're home. Back-to-back home games for the first time this year, 6 of your first 9 on the road with finals and everything coming up. This has to be welcomed by you and the coaching staff and even the players to be back for back-to-back home games and have a chance to get your breath a little bit.
Yeah, I don't know that they really know what that feels like because we have been road warriors, and to our players, they've been absolutely great. Our staff has been great, keeping them focused and keeping the challenges coming. But it'll be fantastic to have 2 back-to-back home games surrounded by a football game. There'll be a lot of positive things happening in Fargo this weekend.
North Dakota, it all starts with fun in-state rivalry. Probably doesn't take much to get up for this game. That's exciting, I think, for a lot of your players, especially the kids that are from North Dakota. They're going to be real fired up for this one.
Absolutely. Whether it's basketball, hockey, football, whatever it is, a rivalry game is where the emotions come out and where players really show what they're made of.
All right. Thanks so much, Mara. We appreciate the time and good luck in the next couple of games. We'll talk to you next week.
Thanks, Brian.
All right. We will be back with the Bison basketball show after this. We go one-on-one with senior forward from the Bison women's basketball team, Brianna Jones. Welcome back to the Bison basketball show. Brianna Jones' path to Fargo came the way of Danville Area Community College. The broadcast journalism major has found a home at NDSU and is enjoying every minute. This week we go one-on-one with the Indianapolis, Indiana native. All right, welcome to one-on-one. We're here with Brianna Jones, one of the seniors on this Bison women's squad, and 6 returners, 6 new true freshmen. What's that been like for you as kind of one of the senior leaders now, Bree, trying to adjust and acclimate all these new faces into this team?
It's been a lot of fun. Getting 6 freshmen in who are also eager to learn and want to be here, and they're looking to us 6 returners, and I think it's a lot of fun for us 6 returners to be in a position where we have people that are looking up to us. So it helps us, make sure that we're on our P's and Q's and we're doing the right thing so we can be a good example for them.
Well, so for you, you're one of the post players. You get a lot of stuff. Underneath is where you got to make your hay, where you got to go to work. Where did you have to change your game to really get physical, get strong? Because you're going up against a lot of players that maybe are giving up some height and weight sometimes.
Yeah, I think the biggest difference between junior college playing against those type of post players and the Division I post players, these girls are strong. These girls lift weights every day. They are strong. They are experienced. So I think a big development for me has been in the weight room. Coach Adam Mead has done a great job. He's pushed me to lift weights I never thought that I'd be able to lift. So I think that's really one of the main things.
Do you miss Indianapolis? What was it about Indianapolis that was home for you? What do you miss about that place compared to living in Fargo?
I miss family. I'm very close with my family. A lot of people were shocked when I decided to come all the way to North Dakota just because of how tight I am with my folks. I talk to my mom and dad about a million times a day. My teammates all make fun of me because I'm like the oldest and I like talk to my mom and dad all the time. But definitely family. My dad owns a restaurant in Indianapolis and I'm pretty much there all the time helping out or eating, one of the two. So
prefer eating, I'm guessing?
Prefer eating, yeah. Prefer eat and then go out and hang with my friends.
So okay, let's see some of your best moves. If I'm guarding you, what do you do? If I'm sizing you up here, what are you doing to try to score on me in the post?
Well,
what are you working on? What are you looking at with me?
Always start back to the basket. Sometimes I might face up and then just kind of read how you're playing me. Somebody give you a jab, get you off your feet, and make my way across the paint, or just sometimes I just like to body littler post players and just go right into.
Just go right into me.
Yep. And
just push me out of the way.
To go up and score. So it just kind of depends on how the defense is playing me, and I try to read it quickly so I can make a quick move.
Off the court, other things that you enjoy doing. What are your passions? What's your favorite food? What makes Brianna Jones away from the court?
Well, those first 2 things go hand in hand. I'm very passionate about food, actually. I think I might get that from my dad. I love to cook. I love to cook for other people. I like to, see the smiles on their faces. Oh my gosh, Bree, this is so good. It just makes me feel a little bit better about myself. And I would say I'm kind of passionate about food. I think I'm looking to, maybe take over my dad's restaurant business one day. That would be like a dream for me because he's worked so hard, built it from the ground up, and I'd love to continue on his legacy.
What do you love most about Fargo? What do you love most about living in this community? What is it that you have enjoyed living here?
This community in Fargo, I've learned people are very nice here. People are nice back in the city, but it's just it's different here. It's like everyone's family. Everyone's very nice, very trusting, and I just love the vibe here that I get from everyone. You know, it's a smaller city than Indianapolis, and sometimes I'll go places and they're like, oh my gosh, like you're Bree on the basketball team. You know, we love watching you play. Good luck this season. Just people here are very encouraging and nice, and that's really what I like about Fargo. That's what I think it's like became my home here.
In her first career game at North Dakota State, Jones grabbed a career-high 19 rebounds against New Mexico State and was 6th in the Summit League last year in rebounding. We'll be back to wrap up the Bison Basketball Show after this.
The Bison Basketball Show on Midco Sports Network is presented by Nodak Mutual Insurance Company and Midco Windows.
Back to wrap things up on the Bison Basketball Show. Both the NDSU men and women are home for a couple of games over the next week, and we will have you covered on Midco Sports Network. On Saturday, the NDSU women host UND at 7 p.m. That game can be seen on Midco SN2. Join us again Monday night as the Bison welcome Mayville State to the Shield Center at 7 p.m. on Midco Sports Network. The Bison men will host Cal Davis at 7 p.m. on Wednesday before hitting the road for a rematch with UND in Grand Forks on Friday, December 16th. Both of those games can also be seen on Midco Sports Network. That will do it for the Bison Basketball Show. We'll see you back here next week.